Right, welcome to the home of the Sages Retreat podcast. We have goodies galore, including latest gaming news, some film bits, and even things that we haven't thought of yet. Today with me, as usual, is Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
Hello. And also,
Hello.
we have a guest today. His name is Ben. Hello,
Hello.
Ben. Hello, Ben. I've heard many things about Ben, including he knows the most about movies. He makes beer. He's the owner of a small company called RekallToys that also goes by the same Instagram. You custom make figures from classic films, and good lord, I've had a look. They're amazing. Also, you have an interest in cryptocurrency that we will get into near the end. And Nathan has insisted I put this. Apparently, you've had quite a few people ask to talk to you, and you basically turned them down. But we have an exclusive, and we've got you today, which is fantastic. I'm looking
This is
forward
my
to it.
YouTube/Spotify debut.
We're looking forward to talking. We're going to be skipping most of the movie and game news today. The only things I found interesting was that Vin Diesel is starring in a Rock'em and Sock'em movie adaptation of the old toy from 80s, 90s. Can you remember the little blue robot and the red robot that would smash it out together? I think.
Didn't they make that with what's his face?
Hang on.
Wolverine.
Hang on.
No.
They're ruining it. It's already been covered because Hugh Jackman starred in Real Steel from 2011. Yeah. Exactly. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this has already been done. Something has already happened. And I actually although Real Steel is a film that you watch once and maybe not ever again, it was an okay film. It was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was. Gaming news is seriously limited, but we've got Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga are doing Fortnite concerts, and I've had enough of that. Quite frankly, I feel sick.
Oh no, we've got to get on that.
We're not definitely not getting on that. First of all, Ben, it's nice to meet you face to face. Well, kind of.
Nice to meet you, the second sage.
Yeah.
The main sage. Sorry, Nathan. No, we're equal plonkers in this endeavour. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we've got some little questions for you.
What about myself?
Anything you want to tell us?
Like a job interview.
It's like a job interview.
I don't know, where do you want me to start?
Right, I'll tell you what. We can.
When I was born.
Well, yeah. So you've known Nathan for a long time. Is this correct?
Yeah. Me and Nathan worked together. What did we work it out of the day? About 13 years ago.
Yeah, about 13 years. Yeah.
And we worked together for about 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Weird. It feels weird that we've known each other that long, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was true.
We worked together in a shitty little clothing shop, but it was like I always say it was the best job I had because literally 5-6 hours a day, 3 days a week, and you were chatting shit with your mates, and literally all of us who worked together are like best mates still, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, we've got something special from there.
Nathan has mentioned, I think, this job several times, and obviously he's got a few friends from it, which is fantastic. Clearly, it's quite a struggle to kind of rant on about yourself, but we do like to push for things. Nathan, go for our first question, which I'm very interested in.
Right. As you know, we like games, and Ben likes games. Ben likes collecting games. So I want to know your favourite game and also your favourite console. Also, you've got shit behind you and stuff, so you could tell us a bit about that because I know like Famicom and stuff like that.
Favourite games, an hard one to pinpoint.
Top of your head. If someone said to me, what's your favourite game? I go, Buff, Sonic 2. But then I think about it more and I've got other games that I like. But just go for a kind of a quick.
Top of my head, because I actually had a big love affair with this game and I played it for hours and I actually got up to 1.75th best player in the world. But now I've dropped a little bit. And I actually streamed it on Twitch. Is Donkey Kong, the original arcade Donkey Kong.
Oh, so going across and boop, boop, and then you have the hammer.
Barrels, hammers, you got it.
This is
like a balls hard game, and I put so many hours into it. I always went. I don't know if you're familiar with the Donkey Kong documentary, King of Kong.
Oh, is this in reference to that guy with the long hair and the crazy?
Billy Mitchell, Steve Weave.
Amazing.
That's where my love affair started, and I got to sort of get in the community and work my way up that leaderboard. I was so close to. If you go on my Twitch stream, I've got my record on there, which is the closest I've ever come. But off the top of my head, I would say that I actually built a Donkey Kong machine, like a replica.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I used to play on that because that's like another one of my hobbies. I used to build like arcade machines, like replicas. I've got a Miss Pac-Man and a Donkey Kong, but
Miss Pac-Man is quite popular, isn't it? I've seen it when it comes to retro arcades. I see that come up quite a lot. Is there a reason for it?
I built it for my missus mainly because have you been to Arcade Club in Manchester?
That's a bit sexist. All right, love, I've got Miss Pac-Man for you.
Yeah.
No,
Here's a pink bow. Pop it on when you play.
she took a liking to it basically. So I'm like, well, I want to build another cabinet, and what's more classic than Pac-Man?
True.
And obviously, she liked Mrs. Pac-Man, so I ended up building Mrs. Pac-Man, and I had a Donkey Kong and Miss Pac-Man, but to make room for the beer stuff, I've recently flat packed them.
You've recently thrown Miss Pac-Man away.
Yeah, they're in storage, but they were all original parts. Only thing that weren't original were literally the wood to make the sides.
They were very professional.
Yeah, original PCBs and whatnot.
Oh, that's brilliant. I've often considered making one. My brother has made one, and it is genuinely really good. I reminisce about, the old like Mortal Kombat, the big side panels.
Yeah, man.
I absolutely love that.
Raiden on side.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
The big logo, I think it's that, and also the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet is also quite stunning to look at. But the first one, I think, in my head, it's...
There is the first one, Liu Kang, where he's fly kicking.
It might be, yeah.
Raiden's on number 2, and you're like...
This is the blue, you've got the blue lightning, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's like,
That's like one of my early arcade memories. Like, my brother, he's obsessed with Mortal Kombat, still is. Like, we used to go to arcade, and you'd have a crowd because he knew every move and whatnot. And you'd be like, owning shit like in the arcade. So that was like one of my early arcade memories.
Yeah, same for me. When I was probably, I would say about 14, 15, I'd go to there was the Namco local arcade, and we would play pool. We do like Laser Quest, or I think it was like Quasar, something different. It wasn't Laser Quest. And we'd play on arcade machines, and the Mortal Kombat one was the one that I was always kind of drawn to. It's like there was something about it. It looked real. It was visceral. It was amazing.
Pulls you in, doesn't it?
It does.
And especially when they got them volume pumping, and it's just pumping out its good juice.
I'm pretty sure that when I went, it always had the volume turned down. I think it was one of those that were like, that's just too noisy. We'll turn it down.
Yeah.
Oh no, man! You were like other side of arcade, and it's like, come here.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah.
It's a great memories from arcades, and you mentioned one a second ago, an arcade.
What are we talking about?
Arcade Club. Yeah.
Arcade Club. Have you been?
No, Nathan has asked me a few times, but the problem is, it's just that work gets in the way, or over the last year, obviously the whole planet has gone on a standstill, so that's been in the way. But
I suggest you go. It's literally like Europe's biggest arcade, but it's literally like your 1980s arcade. It's across like 3 floors. It's got everything you could ever want. It's just like, I think it's about 15 quid to get in, and it's just free play. It's got a bar and everything. It's like I've had brief dealings in past with the guy who owns it. He's like a cool dude who I think his collection's worth like 3 million quid.
Really? Is it all privately owned? Is it all?
Yeah, it's this dude who he collected them when they were worth and now. Like, he's just built a business out of it, and he expanded to Leeds because the original one's in Manchester.
Okay.
Now he's in Leeds, and like I go with my wife, and I've been with friends and their missus, and you know what I mean. Everyone's got something they can enjoy, and it's just like pretty mint they are, and especially if you're into that like era of gaming, it's like being transported back to 80s or 90s and walking into an arcade.
It's definitely 100% something that I will do at some point. Maybe we can all get together and go. Maybe that's something we can do, and we'll have a go on Mortal Kombat.
And then I can school you on Mortal Kombat.
I don't think that's going to happen, actually, but we'll see about that.
I'm more a Street Fighter guy. My brother loved Mortal Kombat, and he used to play, but I was always a Street Fighter guy.
I do like Street Fighter, but I think Street Fighter is kind of like, it's easier to play. It's kind of more fun to jump into. Mortal Kombat, I think you need to learn that game a little bit more.
Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat had a bit more barriers to entry, but what sucked everyone in were just pure violence.
Of course.
Yeah,
and ripping someone's head off and their spine kind of coming out of the body and just
it's like, and with moveset, it were like Mortal Kombat with your back forwards, up downs, what have you. Whereas like your Street Fighter were a bit more, Especially if you use Ken and Ryu, it would be a bit more accessible, maybe.
Unless that Dragon Punch, like people were like, "How'd you do that Dragon Punch?" It's like, easy, it's easy.
Yeah, it's because like every single fighter you ever play, well, for me anyway, it's like the first thing you try is a Hadouken. Like,
It's a fireball, from down to towards, and then you press punch, and then you try kick, and if it doesn't work, you do the reverse, don't you?
Exactly, and like I think Mortal Kombat is like it's a bit more technical to pull off moves.
Yeah, definitely. But once you pull them off, it's good. It's good. The visuals they definitely carry it forward. So what console would you say you grew up with or fell in love with, or what is your main one?
Well, Nathan said about favourite console. My favourite console is not one that I grew up with, but I'll just mention it now before I get on to what I did grow up with. But my favourite console now is a Japanese one called the PC Engine. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I've heard of the PC Engine, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically an 8-bit / 16-bit system that were big in Japan. It actually outsold like Nintendo and Sega, believe it or not, or at least competed with them massively. And in America with the Turbo Graphics.
Turbo Graphics 16, yes. Yeah.
So it never really made it over here, but that's the system now that I collect for and I play, and I just love the system. It's just, the games are amazing. And they're the games I collect and play more than anything else, like retro-wise.
Yeah.
So that's more now. Like, obviously, I know no nostalgia for it, but if you ever get a chance to even emulate it, I'd recommend, especially because I were listening to a previous podcast where you mentioned that you liked Mega Space Force and Thunder Force.
Oh, yeah, Thunder Force, amazing. So Thunder Force is the horizontal one, but the Mega Space Force is it was on the SNES, and it was a vertical one, and it was just the music. Oh, it just drew, because the SNES audio was always slightly better than the Mega Drive. It just drew me in. It was just smooth. I played it, downloaded it, and emulated it a while ago, and I was just like, this is the one. And I just sat there for a long time playing it. It's great.
Well, the PC Engine is literally the king of them, old school spaceship shooters. That is the king. It's like that. Like 80% of its library is them, and it's like them done at the absolute best. So, if you like shooters, that's your platform. That's your console to go to.
Fighting games and shooters, and I was not necessarily all that good at the shooters, but I used to enjoy playing them. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a matter of like repetition. Of
course it is. Yeah. R-Type. I think R-Type was the first one that I played.
R-Type's on the PC Engine. It's probably the best port from the arcade. So check out the PC Engine if you do like them sort of games.
100%. Well, there's actually a new R-Type just been released recently, I noticed as well. So I'm going to have a little look at that and see what that's all about. What about if we took the PC Engine out of contention? And
take that away.
Because that is a bit. I'm not going to say obscure, but it's something that not many of us are niche. Yeah, we're not familiar with it.
Yeah, well, if you rewind back when I were a little nipper, so I was saying to Nathan the other day, like the first console I remember getting was probably the Master System 2, but I do have. I'm not sure whether it was the Master System 2 or the 2600 Atari.
Right.
My earliest memories are either Alex the Kid or Pitfall on 2600. But I was saying to Nathan, I think we got the Master System 2 and then maybe picked up the 2600 when it was a bit cheaper, just because it were knocking about.
Yeah.
So I'd say my first console was Master System, Alex the Kid. What more can you say?
Yeah. I had a Master System 2 was my first console, and I remember Alex the Kid, and I didn't enjoy it. When I say that, people always look at me like you're crazy.
Yeah,
I just generally just didn't enjoy it. I was more interested in playing just rubbish other games, and they were rubbish. I'm not going to pretend that they were good. They were trash. But I just it's what I had, and it's what I played. Then I went on to a Mega Drive, and if I was to pick my console that I would have the most love for would be the Mega Drive. But I was a little bit older, played it with my friends, and I think we enjoyed it just a lot more. When you have your mates around and playing Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, well, Mega Drive would have been the next console, and that's like my bread and butter, what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Like I said, with Mortal Kombat especially, because you had the violence, whereas like the SNES version had cut all the violence.
They did in the first one, but they brought it back they did bring it back in the second, yeah.
So yeah, I probably cut my teeth on Mega Drive. But if you're talking about, because obviously I'm Nathan's sort of age, so when Mega Drive came around, Master System, maybe
I'm not that much older than you. I'm not
10, 15 years, are
I'm
you?
gonna smack you in a minute.
Nathan said like 60.
Yeah.
No,
Close.
that when that came around, it were like, if you said to me, how did you get into gaming? Like, as a little kid, it's just were natural at that time. Like,
Yeah.
everyone wanted the game console. And so it weren't until maybe the PS1, like maybe when I was about 9 years old, that I was telling Nathan the other day, basically, I asked my mum for some crap for Christmas. I can't remember what it were. And then I was sat at my grandma's house in front of the TV, and Final Fantasy VII came on the TV.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's like, I need to experience that.
Yeah.
Like, I said to my mum, I'm like, I need a PlayStation for Christmas. And I was saying to Nathan, I was pretty spoiled as a child.
Yeah.
I'll just put it out there now. She was like, yeah, I'll get you one. And then, so that was like the first instance in gaming where I was like, I need to experience this experience and I need this console. So I wanted the console literally just for that game. And so that's probably where I fell in love with gaming. And obviously a lot of people probably synchronize up with my experience of
100%. Yeah.
Being into gaming, and especially the RPGs, like Final Fantasy VII would have been a lot of people's first RPG, especially like the Japanese type. It's a bit weird. Like when you first played it, you were like, what are these like save points? And it was just all a bit strange, but a bit just lured you in. So I'd say that was where my love affair started, because PlayStation's where I probably did most of my gaming, PS1. I have a lot of fond memories of Mega Drive, like me and my brother renting games and whatnot. Earthworm Jim, Battletoads, etc.
Yeah.
The notorious Battletoads.
Well, my brother's older than me, and when we used to play Battletoads 2-player and the infamous level with the hover bikes. Yeah. And you were like, you better do this level. And I was like constantly effing it up. So
do you? Yeah, we all have fond memories of old games. Do you currently play any games at all? Or are you having a break?
No, I like if I'm gonna just throw something on, it would be PC Engine with the shooters, because in this day and age now where you ain't got much time to throw on a shooter, you can just play it for half an hour, an hour. You don't have to get invested.
Yeah, this is my argument with. So I like a lot of different games, but I play a game with my wife. I play with Nathan quite a lot. It's Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
So some people, some people just hate them. It's fine, but you can put it on. You can have an hour. It's literally brain dead. You don't need to worry about it. It's like throwaway. You go on it. You have your fun. You have your interaction. Whether it's social interaction with people that you don't necessarily, it's in the evening. I could sit here and call Nathan. We could both just sit here chatting to each other or whatever. But we play a game together and we'll talk together. And it's kind of two birds, one stone, And then once we've finished playing the game, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, man, totally.
It's done. And I think that's the appeal for. I don't want to say older gamers, because I think it's something that's not. I don't think that's something that's a real thing. I think it's people that are busy, people with families. I've got an hour. Let's bang out some Warzone. I haven't got, on my day off, I'm doing things, but I definitely got an hour. I've got 2 hours. I've got the morning off, the evening off. Let's do some. Whereas an RPG, it's if you don't play it for 2 weeks because you're busy, you sit down. You're like, what were the controls?
Yeah,
what was I doing?
Many a time I've just quit a game because I've left it for a week.
Yep.
But coming back to your original question, I have actually just finished and been playing, which is the first modern game I have actually put hours into for I can't even remember how long. Were Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4.
Yeah.
Literally just finished it last week, and I probably put about 70 hours into it.
Yeah.
Which I never ever do for like modern games, which is a rarity. So I did enjoy that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a good looking game. Unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation, so I can't play that one.
It's a sexy game. Especially I'm into all the Japanese stuff, and see it, especially like feudal Japan and all that. like ancient Japan. It was just a good game.
You went to Japan, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, man. Amazing. My honeymoon. It was so.
Oh, was it your honeymoon? It's my kind of dream holiday. I think if I could only go. I mean, Nathan told you recently that I haven't been abroad. It's crazy for some people to think that, but there's plenty of us out there that have not ventured out. I mean, but
get your send there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna figure it out, and then at some point, I would like to. I'd like to just spend like a couple of weeks there, and just make my way through. It's going to have to be one of those spend all your money and have a great time, and it'll be forever there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. We spent a load. We obviously honeymoon, push boat at.
Yeah.
We were there for about 15 days. Oh, just amazing, man. Just culture shock as well, and just...
Yes, I think that's what I need. I need a culture shock. I mean, I have no interest in. It sounds. I mean, I know there's the history of like Europe, which is fascinating. I think it'd be really interesting to dig into that. But like from what I can gather from people that have travelled around a lot of Europe, it feels and it looks very same old. It's like here, but just slightly different. I'd rather do something that is different, and like a trip to Japan would be 100% different.
But to Japan, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Proper
polar opposite to us.
People you'll ever meet and stuff like. Yeah. Zero like crime and stuff. It's just,
it's like their murder rate is like ridiculously low, isn't it? Like, if it happens, it's like national news. When it's like someone gets murdered over here, we hear about it. It's like, oh, it's gone. But like, I mean, obviously we're not even going to talk about America in regards to their crime rate. But when you get something over there and it happens, I read it very recently, and it's like it's a big deal. It's a big. I remember when the anime studio got burnt down. What was it? 2 years ago. That was one of the worst incidents of people dying since like the war, something like that. And it's like, wow, that was an interesting story. I found it on YouTube. It was talking about the guy that did it, and he was just like a loner and just obsessed with it. And he'd submitted a story, and they'd rejected it, and then he'd ended up just being like, "I'll just burn the place down." Okay,
I know you think like Japanese people, because they're quite repressed in like the way they live. Like you think they'd be a bit more like fucked up, but it tends to be like you said, like zero crime. They're just nice people. Just I don't know. You just need to go and experience it. It was like one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah,
we're definitely going back for like his 10-year anniversary.
That's good. That's
100%.
good. Jumping on to another topic which we know you're very passionate about is films. Yes. Nathan says you are basically the go-to man for film knowledge.
He says that, but he disagrees with everything I say.
Yeah, because I have to. That's why.
I'll just put it out there that at this point in my life, I'm like basically a grumpy old man, and I'm set in my ways, and I've like reverted back. I know I like technology and stuff, but I've reverted back in tastes of films. Like anyway, I'm definitely like an 80s kind of guy.
Did you see did you see or listen to our last podcast?
Yeah, I did.
Did you have an opinion on the Blockbuster versus Netflix discussion?
Well, I did. Yeah, I did, but I actually reorganized the way I would have done it, and shockingly, none of them would have made an S rank for me.
Oh no! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Hang on! No, I'm not on about the film.
Which one are you on about?
The last podcast we spoke about which was better, the experience of Netflix.
Oh right.
Yeah. Sorry, bit mixed up there.
Of course, I did. I had a lot to say to Nathan about that actually.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm interested in your opinion. I mean, what would you say
is in terms of talking about films?
No. In terms of going to Blockbuster, we'll just use and renting a film, or sitting on your settee and putting on a streaming service.
No, man. Like I was saying to Nathan, this experience for me is just like it's just one of them experiences that you'll never ever experience again, and I'm so sad that I can never walk into a video shop. Just like I was quite lucky growing up because my auntie run a video shop, and it was like literally the best video shop. And so all I'd have to do was walk in, and she'd be like, "Oh, do you want a video?" And I could take my pick or anything. And
I'm going to say I think your experience was ruined.
Yeah, well it could be. There were times when we went, and I had to make that choice, and it's like you're only taking this video home for a weekend, and and you've got to make the most of it. There were plenty of times like that.
Okay.
there were a lot of times where I did get the pick of what I wanted. But I don't know if Nathan's told you one of my favourite films is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Which
no, he's never said that.
That harkens back. That harkens back to probably one of my earliest memories of actually renting that video and just as a family sitting down and just watching it. And obviously I was scared shitless being like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Brother were buzzing because he loved horror films. And my mum and dad were laughing because of how stupid it is.
Yeah.
That's probably why I love that film so much. But that harkens back to the renting the videos. But when that experience of just like, I don't know, all that artwork as well, like, because when we were talking about earlier, I love art and I'm quite artistic, and that's like a big imprint on my mind, just the covers. Like, this might sound a bit weird, but looking through covers, I always thought, you know, the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
I'd never watched it as a kid. I didn't watch it till about 12-year-old. And I always thought it was an horror film.
Because he's like getting electrocuted.
Is it where he's like, he's like that, isn't he? Yeah.
And I just thought it was some sort of Christmas horror film. And it was just stuff like that like stuck in my mind. And I just peruse these like videos for hours and hours. And my auntie, she literally just will like get whatever you want. So I definitely took a lot of inappropriate videos home, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think the
experience. I've told Nathan about it a lot of times.
But what's your opinion of that? So obviously you appreciate that experience. The thrill of, see, mine was when my uncle would come around and he'd be like, at the weekend we'll go and get a video, and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to find a film I've not watched before, and I'd have to wait for that film. I'd go and it'd either be a choice of a slightly more expensive one just for like the night or 2 nights, or it'd be like 3 crap ones for a similar price for a week. You know?
Yeah, but the crap ones, they're the ones that I love now. So you got to appreciate the crap.
Definitely. So what do you think about being able to sit down and like watch Netflix? I mean,
see, Netflix is. It's like a bit like when you emulate games. It's like you have all the choice in front of you, and it's so easy to just like. There's no commitment to it. It's just like you can pick a film, and it's all right, whatever. It's a bit throwaway for me.
Throwaway, 100%. So if you start a film and you don't like it, you just turn it off.
Yeah, unless our last picks it, then I'll just bear it.
I'd fall asleep, 100%.
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, no, I watched that one on my own though.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, we're on ITV2.
Yeah, ITV2.
That's this major film channel is ITV2. You'll watch anything on there.
This is my philosophy on film. If it's something I can watch, and if it's on ITV2, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If it's not, then I'll just switch it off.
Do you have a favourite film and sort of genre?
I wouldn't say genre because I just love everything. I do love horror films, but that's become more. I think that's more recent, and it's with the nostalgia goggles.
Okay.
Like, because my brother loved horror films, and like he used to try and make me watch them, and I'd be like crapping myself. Like that experience back then were daunting, but now I just regret. Like, I would love to feel scared at a film nowadays. Like, that was part of the experience. So I go back and watch them a lot. So that nostalgia for me would be horror films. But in terms of like loving a genre now, there's not like anything. I like any sort of film. But
okay, that's fair enough.
If you're talking specific favourites, like if you said to me, what's your favourite films, I could reel you like 4 films off. Undoubtedly, and they're my favourite films.
I'm the same. Also, I find it's what mood I'm in on the day. Like, so I've got I
have them when I've got films where like whatever mood I'm in, but these like a core like 4 or 5 where I could just say I could watch them all day every day.
See, for me, my favourite film is I couldn't watch it like every week. For me, it's like I have to watch it once a year or something, because if I watch it any more than that, I feel like I'm watering it down. I like to get that. It's like I kind of like to forget it and then to bring it back.
I love them type of films, and I've got plenty of them. But haven't you got like I have a comforting film where you could just put, like back in day, put the VHS on when you go into bed and just zone out. And you like every night I would probably watch the same film.
Yeah.
I think if someone said to me, you know what, could you put a film on and just like watch it, like, or have it on, maybe Enter the Dragon. But the reason is because I think, although I struggle to quote them right now, but when I'm watching it, I pretty much know all the words to the film. And I'll annoy if I ever have it on my wife's around, I'll annoy her by saying something, and then it's said on the film, and she's just like, "Shut up."
Yeah, exactly. That's what my like top 5 would like. It's like so quotable, and I probably say it a lot to my wife, and she don't know what I'm on about, but she even says the quotes because it's like ingrained in her.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So you like horror films, but you like all films.
Yeah, but if you want to talk me top films, number 1, like I said to Nathan, there's some films what I call hangout films, where like it's literally like you're chilling out with your mates, and it's like seeing an old friend whenever you pop it on.
Yeah.
And number 1 for that would be Sideways, which I don't know how many people out there would have actually seen.
I've not heard of it. What is it?
It's literally Paul Giamatti, and Thomas Hayden Church, which I only know from Sideways, really. I know Paul Giamatti is a whore and does like any film good.
Yeah.
But them two, it's literally them two. One of them's getting married, and they're into wine. He takes him to wine country, and they go around wine country, and they just have a blast. And it's just it's just an amazing film. Like, it's so well written, and the characters and just everything about it. And it's one of them films I could just pop in. And I could watch it like 3 times in a night, and I wouldn't be bored of it. Like, literally, it is just my favourite film.
What? That was Superbad.
Superbad.
Yeah, I could watch Superbad like on repeat.
So if anyone's not seen Sideways, it's actually on the homepage of like Disney Plus now. They must have added it. So it might not be your bag, but it's a comedy basically about 2 mates.
I'm just trying to think where I knew him from, and
it's the
Sandman in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. This is what Nathan keeps telling me, that they're all bad guys in Spider-Man films. I'm like,
Paul Giamatti's Rhino.
Yeah, I do not want to know.
Yeah,
is he Rhino?
Yeah, in the Andrew Garfield one, he like makes a cameo at the end. I showed Ben the clip. I know he's in everything. Paul Giamatti's just in. He's in Hangover Part 2, which Ben's other favourite film.
But I just know him as Miles Raymond, which is his name in Sideways, and that character is just amazing.
I need to watch it. I think I'll find it. I'll put it on.
It's a bit left
one of them.
field.
Yeah, it's one of them films that if you explain what it is, it doesn't sound that good. Yeah, it sounds crap. But when you watch it, it's like Big Lebowski, isn't it? If you try and explain Big Lebowski, it sounds shit.
Yeah, and Big Lebowski is in my top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's probably Sideways, Big Lebowski, Akira.
Akira is one of the first, I think, anime films that I watched.
Exactly. It's just I was taught.
Sorry
to Nathan.
Yeah, sorry to have taught you. I could probably watch the beginning of that film at any point. I think the whole film is quite long to watch if you're not in the mood for it. But I think it's like the beginning of that film. I think is amazing.
It's one of them films where you can watch it first time and you might not get the story or appreciate it, but it's like one of them. The more you watch it, it's like you can appreciate the hand drawn. Every single cell was photographed individually. Just even the chase scene at the beginning with the motorbike lights, like what they had to do to get that in the film. Thinking about going back to 80s and drawing that and photographing it, and you just got to appreciate the art. And like I'm sure it said that on VHS, because of the amount of colours, you couldn't see the amount of colours. Like you had to see it at the cinema to actually see the spectrum. But I think just obviously the animation, the scope, the story, and I was saying to Nathan earlier, the sound design on that film is like, if I were to say a film with a sound design is like my favourite sound design, it's just that film. It's like, me and Nathan went to see it on IMAX when it did its 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And just every time that silence came, the theatre was just dead silent on it. Like you could hear a pin drop. It's like the way it crafts its sound is amazing. and the soundtrack is just mind blowing. And then you couple all that with everything else, and it's just a juggernaut of a film.
The anime market at the moment is absolutely saturated.
That's what I mean. You get a load of crap, and this thing, Akira, looks like it could have been made today. It's just, do you know what I mean? It stands up so well.
There's a few anime that I've seen or that I've. There's even one that I was watching. I was watching a bit of Tokyo Ghoul the other day, and that was seemed like quite a good story.
I quite like that.
Yeah, I'm going to watch a bit more when I get the chance. But like, I know Attack on Titan's a big one, and there's several others. But I've got 4 children, and 3 of them love anime. I think my little one, I think she's more happy if you put, she's got on TikTok. But yeah, they absolutely love anime. It's great. Nathan, if you'd like to start us on the next topic, which I know you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
And you're breaking up a bit.
I am.
Give it a second.
Am I?
Come on, sort your dial.
Can you hear me now?
Dial apart.
I know. This my rubbish internet.
Yeah, just carry on going.
Is it still coming through all right?
Yeah, the video's slightly, the bit rate's gone a bit odd, but yeah, just carry on. You're fine.
Probably for the best.
Yep. Yeah, it probably is. You don't have to look at my awful face. But yeah, we some of you might know that I stream on Twitch, and we streamed. Lee came up and saw me the other day.
It was like 3-4 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. All days have just all melded into one. I don't know what's going on. But it came up and we brewed some beer, because obviously I quite like brewing beer. And Ben is a massive fan of brewing beer. I think he's a bigger fan of drinking it as well. And if you're watching the video, you can see him drinking as well. But he'll tell us what he's drinking. Yep. So do you want to tell us about your beer journey, how you got into it?
My beer journey?
Yep.
Well, like you'll probably know, like, especially in Sheffield anyway, there's a certain area called Kelham Island, which is like the beer mecca. Like a lot of people do travel to visit it. And my journey started with me, Nathan, and his friend Adam, and Joe. People who used to work with at Republic, which is the place we used to work.
Yeah.
It's just your standard going out, having a drink, but the more you went around the area, the more you had appreciation for the pubs and their heritage and whatnot, and then that leads you to real ale and all that sort of stuff. So that's where it started. It started with, I try this lager, I try this ale, blah. Then came the craft beer. Like UK moved, America started the craft beer revolution, but UK weren't far behind. So when that all sort of came, it was like, oh, what's this now? And I sort of blew my mind when I tasted it, like, what am I drinking? And it sort of rabbit hole from there. So it went from me just basically going out drinking lager and getting hammered to actually going out and knowing what I want to drink and try, and not coming home hammered, because I'm more interested in actually trying what I wanted to try. So that's the way it started. And then obviously that all leads back to, you want to sort of, more you learn about it, more you want to pick it apart, and then more you want to pick it apart, more you want to move into home brewing, and then when you move into home brewing, that's like another rabbit hole to go down. So I'm deeply invested in that now, and that's sort of where it started.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying? Have you made anything that's duff? That's absolutely rubbish? Have you been disappointed? Are these accidents good progress in your your?
I'm the kind of guy who's very meticulous with everything I do. So when it come to home brewing, I'd probably been researching. I'd obviously drank beer and knew what I liked, what I didn't like, what characteristics I wanted to achieve if I did drink a beer or a certain style. So when it came to home brewing, it was like, oh yeah, I want to try this. So I'd research it, and then like, my friends got kit. Nathan got kit before me. Like I've only just started brewing my own beer. I'd probably been looking and researching homebrew for like maybe 2 years. But it got to a point where I took on enough information that when I brewed with my friends, I was like, I sort of knew where it was going, where it'd take me, what you needed to know. So I've only recently bought the kit, and I'm only my second actual brew on my kit is in the it's in the chamber now, which is carbonating. And so yeah, I've had 2 brews, and I've taken the first one. There were small issues, which I know now what they were. But the second one, I've literally just before we come on stream, I pulled a third off it and had a taste, and I was like absolutely just bang on what I wanted to achieve. So I won't have any duffers yet, not like Nathan.
Yeah, that was Lee's fault.
Yeah,
I'm blaming Lee.
don't blame Lee.
It was Nathan was too upset because I kept calling a cob. Was it a cob? And you were like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
it
it's a bread cake.
threw you off, didn't it?" Yeah. It's like, what are you on about cobs?
Yeah.
We'll blame Lee then for messing up your mojo.
Yeah, it threw me off. I didn't know what we were doing. He told me to put 100 grams of hops in when we didn't need it, but I don't know.
I'll take the blame. It's fine. Whatever. I'm not even listening.
Yeah.
So Nathan was the one that mentioned it to me, and I ended up buying the same kit that Nathan had, and although I've only done the buy it in a can and take it off and pour it in. I've only done 2 of those, but it's an interesting start, and at some point I'll be doing a more authentic procedure.
Yeah, it's like, obviously it all depends on you as a person. If you want to dip your toes in, it's the best way to probably start. Whereas I'm the guy who jumps in head first and makes all the mistakes, and that's how I learn. So I'm like 100 mile an hour in anything I do. So, but the more orthodox approach would be probably what you did, and just dip your toes in.
I'm happy.
See what's about, feel your way through it.
Yeah, I'm happy to start where I am, and then I'll progress. So I quite enjoy doing it, and I think it'll be interesting to take that next step. Yeah, so we're all into beer. That's good.
Hey, you're coming to Belgium with us, by the way.
Apparently so. Yeah,
we've got a Belgium trip on the cards for next year.
I'll speak to
That's like a bucket list for me. So
I'll
be going.
What's at Belgium? What's at Belgium other than beer?
Beer.
Okay, right. Well,
you don't need another. Beer's enough. Yeah.
Nathan loves this word, but it's a beercation. Nathan kept telling me it's a beercation.
Yeah.
I was saying I don't like that word, but
I remember it differently, but yeah.
We're on a beercation, and you're coming with us.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that.
We're going to expand you. We're going to blow your mind, because a lot of people who drink beer, they're not really engaged with sour beers or wild fermented beers. So if you've not got any experience with that, which I'm assuming you haven't, if you're just a general beer drinker, we're going to take you down that path, and you're just going to realise what beer actually is.
Okay, I've had a lot of different beer, but we'll leave that for another time.
His favourite's Carling. He's lying.
Fuck yourself.
You love it. And that's cold pint of Carling. Yeah.
Going away from beer and being insulted, Nathan, I'm gonna punch you in the face. One of the interesting things you've got going off is RekallToys.
Yes.
You've mentioned it briefly earlier, and you've got a fantastic Instagram. I will link it. It will be linked somewhere. I'll try and if I can link it on the Spotify podcast listing, I will do. If not, it will be on YouTube. RekallToys, and I instantly knew, by the way, where Rekall came from. I'm just going to say.
Because everybody who says it, who doesn't know, will be like, "Oh, Rekall."
No, it's Rekall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as well as being a nice nod to Total Recall, which is one of my favourites.
One of my favourites, yeah.
It's obviously a nod to recall in your childhood, as in the toys.
It is a recall,
Exactly.
It's a.
I'm glad you got the reference, because a lot of people it flies over their head.
Yeah.
Well, this is you setting them straight.
Exactly.
Everyone's going to watch this video and they know.
RekallToys.
Recall, you have to go recall.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought that, like that advert. Was it when he was on the train, when he was going along, wasn't he? And you could see the mountain in the background.
Exactly.
Brilliant film.
Infinite in mind.
So tell me, and anyone that's listening, a little bit about RekallToys.
Well, basically, it's become an art form in itself. Like, people who are unaware of the actual scene, that it does fetch, at the minute, it does fetch a high price. Like, some people I know who are quite famous toy artists, they can sell the work for $1,000, $2,000 per figure. It's basically your retro figures, imagine Star Wars circa 80s.
You know, like Kenner, sort of the old sort of toys.
Kenner.
Yeah.
It's them sort of figures. So 3.75 inch.
You get a bit of cardboard.
Yeah, cardboard.
And then like a blister,
on
like a little blister pack on the front. Was it that? Yeah.
That's the one.
Brilliant.
And basically, what it is the toys that you would have never got made because they're stupid. Or the films like that were inappropriate for children, so they would have never received an action figure.
Some films, I've noticed some films that you covered might not have been considered all that important, maybe when they were made. But now we're looking back and going, that film's amazing.
Exactly. We're all your B movies and your crap and just all that good stuff that we all loved as kids. It was like you wanted to see a character that would never, like the Star Wars Kenner lines, you would get these characters where they maybe appeared on screen for like 2 seconds. And it's like sort of bringing them characters and giving them an action figure, but from like really crap films.
I'm very impressed by your Last Dragon characters.
Oh yeah, that were a commission, because most of my work is like, it's normally one-off, so I make one. And a lot of it is private commission work. So somebody will get in touch, say, can you make me this? Can you make me that? Last Dragon were for is a customer of mine who I've made a lot of figures for. I'll confess I've never actually seen The Last Dragon.
It's a very good film.
So, but obviously they give me the stuff to work with, and I watch what I can on YouTube and whatnot, and I try and deliver. And luckily, most people are quite happy with what I do for them.
Okay, you say most people. Was there anyone that's not been happy?
Well, you sometimes get a customer where they like literally treat you like they're your boss, and they're like, do this, do that, and I'm like, I see it, and a lot of people who I work for see it as an expression of like art.
So it's art. So it's what you envision, you create it, and you say, "This is for you."
Yeah, if you liked an artist and you said, "Can you make me this?" You'd want them to interpret it in their like scope, and you'd be happy with what you got, which is like 90% of people. But some people are like, "Oh, I don't like this. Can you do this? Can you do this?" And they like basically manufacture the piece, and you just make it for them, which you don't like working for because it takes all creativity out of it.
Yeah, so
90% of people, they're like happy for you to run with it, and
So,
it's a cool gig, and I've had some pretty like cool customers, like interesting customers, like people who actually were the person I'm making the figure of. I've actually made a figure of and sent to them, which is pretty mind blowing.
That is that's very significant.
I've had like conversations with actresses, actors who I watched growing up, and I'm like sending a figure to them. It's like a bit weird. And I've had some like famous clients as well, which is pretty cool because considering I make them in my spare room and I'm like living in Sheffield.
I love that. I make them in a spare room. I'm in Sheffield, and somebody likes my figures. It's like I feel like you're knocking yourself a little bit. They're very good figures.
Well, I want to name drop like whilst I'm here, I can.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of figures go to Adam Goldberg. Who makes the Goldbergs?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Me and Nathan were talking about. He's bought quite a lot of figures, and probably my biggest project that I worked on over Christmas, which I earned a lot of money on, was for John Legend.
As in the singer was obviously
John Legend.
That's
he was giving Christmas presents to people, and there's a lot of famous people in the figure industry, and basically the most famous guy. I sort of know him. He's the guy who influenced me to make him.
Oh, okay.
And he said to me, I need help with this massive project for John Legend. Do you want to jump on board? It's X amount of figure. And basically I made 12 figures that went to like famous people. Some of them are really famous people. And basically I had to sign an NDA and everything. And I got a big payday out of it.
So you're okay saying John Legend, it's not going to get you in trouble?
Yeah, no, that's cool because it's just, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's pieces of, it's like figures that are a bit of a laugh. Like, I don't think I'm going to get sued. I hope I'm not. Because the NDA said I'd be sued. So, hopefully not.
Yeah. Do you want me to mute this bit out?
No, you could, because it was more to do with, receiving personal information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like not sharing the person. You know what famous people are like? They have lawyers for everything. But
Yeah.
this if you think about it, this is like something stupid that they had for friends. It's not really important.
Yeah.
If you put it into context.
Okay, so we're okay with John Legend, but the rest of it we'll keep shush. Very good.
But it's pretty weird that like I was working in a little house in Sheffield making John Legend's Christmas presents, and I don't think many people probably believe me if I told them. But
I love that. I just absolutely love it.
This is what happens when you go on Instagram. You can open doors, and I've met figures and conversed with a lot of famous people, like to me anyway, who I admire. So it's a bit weird, but it's rewarding. But it don't feel real like that. I'm telling you that about John Legend, but it still feels weird to me. Like it probably didn't happen.
So if I said to you, I would really love this little figure.
Well, you would love one that I recently did, which you probably saw, of Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon.
Oh yes, you did do an Enter the Dragon.
That's one of my favourite ones to do.
Wow.
That went to a because about 95% of people are from America who buy these because they throw the money around and they collect stuff. Whereas like in England, it's a bit of nobody's like, if it's not 20 quid, I'm not buying it. But they don't appreciate the work that goes into it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. If I can't get it down Farmland, then I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like, though.
Right. So if I've ever got some spare cash,
if you've got a few hundred quid laying around,
I'll hit you up because I've got one in mind. I've got one in mind.
I do them for friends. Like I've done them for friends for free. Like if you want mates rates, I'll do them for mates rates.
If I ever gets to that point of really wanting it, I'll hit you up. That sounds fantastic. So Recall Toys. You have a great Instagram going through your figures and then seeing you've got like covers of other stuff as well. It's very nicely laid out. It comes across very professional. My Instagram is just like bang bang bang. There you go. I'll put a filter on.
I'm glad you said that because that's what I'm aiming for. Try and make it seem like I know what I'm doing.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it. To be honest with you, I'm quite fussy with my Instagram. I do like to make sure my pictures come out okay, but I have an interest in photography, so I like.
I'm gonna say you two are photographers. I'm like battling with a camera phone and a crappy light box. I'm like, basically my skill lies in Photoshop. So
if saying that though, if someone said to me, I want you to do my wedding and I want you to use a phone, I would be confident in being able to do it. But that comes from years of knowing how to frame and expose. I think I could definitely do it, especially with the level of camera phones that we have nowadays. I have a Huawei P20 Pro and a P30 Pro, and the quality of the camera is phenomenal. Better than DSLRs from, I'll just say 10 years ago going back. But yeah, absolutely amazing. And once you throw it in Lightroom and Photoshop, you do your adjustments, you can't tell the difference.
I think it comes down to you, like, because you know what you're doing with your photography. I think it comes back to that. Like, if you talk about photography, I'm amateur, so I like take the amateur photos and then adjust in Photoshop. Whereas like you might get the better photo up front and it's less adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at photography now, especially with famous people. They've all been through every single filter you can imagine, and that's
like Nathan's running that filter now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not actually this handsome. It's like
it's quite smoothing that skin off a little bit,
making himself look younger. That's what that is.
So yeah, I hope the future of Recall Toys carries on. Maybe you'll get some new employees, and
I'm constantly at work. Like literally, I'm a lazy guy by nature, so I do work quite slowly. But all my customers are happy. But it's like every time I finish something, I'm like, right, I finished this project. I'm gonna like chill out, watch some films, use my time to just chill, and then another project comes along. And since I started it, which would have been 2018, it's just been boom, 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 non-stop, basically.
From start to finish, then, how long on a figure? I mean, obviously there's variables, but just give me a.
If I can be arsed,
that's the biggest variable.
I can knock it out like in a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, I thought he was going to say like a few days.
Again, it depends on the figure because the process of making them, it can vary from, like if you do go on my Instagram, one figure I am really, really proud of that I did a run of 30 figures. It was the Killer Clowns figure, and that figure was sculpted from clay, from scratch. Every single bit of that was sculpted, molded. I did the art. I painted the artwork on the card. I did absolutely everything with DIY, and I made 30 of them. So that were quite a long process. But some figures, what you call kit bashing.
Okay, I understand kit bashing. Yeah.
If you remember the Star Wars figures, original Star Wars figures, they was actually kit bashed from other figures. So basically, you take a figure, vintage, current, whatever, and you take arms, you take an head, you take leg, you might bash them together. Maybe you sculpt a little bit on to make it look like what you want, and you paint it up. Yeah. So you've either got like a full sculpt or like a kit bash or somewhere in between. So depending on the figure, like at the minute I'm doing a Arnold Schwarzenegger Masters of the Universe, so 5.5 inch.
One of my favourite cartoons as a child.
Yeah, I've got a little body here that's sort of like, I have ripped his head and his arms off, but it's going to be a Masters of the Universe style figure. Here's his little head.
I'll say it again. Looks really good.
I'll say it again, milk is for babies.
Yeah.
It's basically, that's like been a lot of work. So I'm having to literally, because I make all the packaging myself and all the plastic bubbles, like the blister packaging, that all gets made. That's all vacuum formed, and that's like a big project. So I literally sold them in maybe beginning of April, and the time frame's like June. So you've got a lot of work on some and basically not a lot of work on the others. It depends what they want. Like I recently did a Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon 5, which obviously doesn't exist.
Yes, I was looking at it and I said, oh, Lethal Weapon. I went, I don't think that's real.
Yeah, exactly. So that were quite straightforward because a Mel Gibson is quite a simple figure from Lethal Weapon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With clothing and whatnot. Like Nathan wants me to do him an Alucard from Castlevania, which I will do, but that'll take a lot longer because it's quite a complex character.
Yeah.
So it depends on the character how long it takes me, basically.
Some good stuff. I think that's brilliant. I hope it goes well. So we're going to jump onto our last little topic here. So bear with me on this one. Atom, Ethereum, Cardano, Ripple, Stellar, Solana are these drugs from a post-apocalyptic film called Killer Coins from Outer Space that are going to destroy our banks and all that we love about credit card interest? Or is it something less sinister? Over to you. I know you have a big interest.
Them ones you mentioned are probably sinister, especially if you throw Dogecoin in there.
Excuse me.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, if you clear all that chaff out and just get rid of it, and you said Bitcoin, then I can kind of get on board.
Oh, I didn't put Bitcoin in there because I thought it was too. It also didn't sound like a drug from a post-apocalyptic film.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, we know what that is, but people might be going Ethereum. What's that? Cardano, Ripple. What is all of this? So tell me, what is it? Over to you, because you know, I've been looking into it. Obviously we spoke to Nathan about it, but my knowledge is very, very low. So I'm just, what would you say it is?
I've chewed Nathan's ear off about this, and probably everybody I know. But if you just want to talk about cryptocurrency in general,
go for it.
Yeah, so basically it's like a decentralized electronic cash system.
Centralized would be the banks.
Yeah, so basically there ain't one entity that can control it.
Yeah.
So it's fully like peer-to-peer and there's no third party involved. That's what your definition would be. It's electronic cash, peer-to-peer, no third party. So basically you're your own bank. And a lot of people, I don't know. You can probably liken it to in 1992. Say internet came about. A lot of people would have maybe been like, "I don't understand this internet. I don't want to do this internet. What is it?" But now, fast forward, and everybody is on the internet.
Yeah.
Your life
You
is on
can't, in a way, you can't not be on the internet, I find.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like every aspect of your life now, like be it social, like we are now,
Yep.
talking, that's digital. You
Mm.
do your shopping digitally, maybe you buy from Amazon, maybe you buy your weekly shop from Sainsbury's, it's digital. Just everything's digital information. You get your information off Google. So, like, if you think about it, one thing that isn't digital predominantly is cash.
Mm.
You have your PayPals and whatnot, but to get your PayPal account, you need a bank account and you need cash and you get paid cash.
Yeah.
It's not really 100% digital, but basically, crypto has come along, and it's been around for a while. Like, don't get me wrong, we're still early adoption, like in the early adoption phase, but it's literally it's like turning your analog money into digital money. And like, if you think about it, like I just said, everything is digital.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't in the future cash be digital? It would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, of course, and having it all digital.
So looking at that from that point of view, it makes sense. But it's the people who don't really know about it. It's the technology that underpins it, which is called blockchain.
Yeah.
That's basically the revolutionary technology that I would compare to the internet being discovered or being started. Is you've got blockchain technology, and now to like a layman, I'm not like wanting to put down on anybody who didn't know anything about it, because literally I didn't know. I knew of, like many people, you probably know of Bitcoin.
I think it's been in the news quite a lot. People are picking it up.
A lot of people don't understand it, but they know of it, and I was the same. And I'm no expert, by the way, but the first thing you probably would learn from any sort of crypto is everyone stresses do your own research.
Yeah.
So like you could listen to me talking crackpot crap, but just do your own research and just know what you're getting into. Like
I have just running off what you said. I have been looking a lot into it. Maybe over the last week or so. The funny thing is, about 2 years ago, I came across Dogecoin on Reddit, and I was like, that's just really stupid and interesting, because that's the kind of stuff I like. And I was planning on getting some or mining some, and I kind of had the software and I looked at it, and I'm fairly good with stuff like that, but it kind of broke me, and I just totally pushed it to one side. And I'm not one to hold on to sort of regret, because I think it's a bad habit. But I always think, wow, if I'd done something then, maybe it could be interesting now.
Well, the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. So,
of course.
If you do regret anything like that, like, you know what I mean, it's never too late to get in. But going back to Dogecoin, like I said, I'm no expert, but I know Nathan loves a bit of Doge.
I do.
Or dog, as I'd say.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not, that's not my bag at all. I'm out.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about the actual technology and Bitcoin and what Bitcoin started with blockchain, I can happily talk about that.
Yeah.
If you want me to expand on it,
yeah.
I'm not going to expand on Dogcoin, because that's literally a meme that.
Yeah.
Just
You're
like,
a purist, aren't you?
yeah,
it has to
that's
be.
a meme that's destined to fail.
Yes, I think.
But it does have its uses, because it is probably going to bring a lot of people into the like crypto space. So I won't disparage it too much.
So I had a list of questions. What is it? You've covered that. Why does it exist? We've covered that. Is it the future? I think we've covered that. I think it looks like it has potential to be very dominant in the future. And I reckon that I imagine banks are quite scared of it, in a sense of taking power away from them.
They are scared of it in a sense, but go back to internet. When it was invented, maybe the Royal Mail or whatever, UPS, were scared of email. Like, is it going to destroy mail? But at the end of the day, if anything, email has facilitated actual mail, because do you know what I mean? Without email, you couldn't buy something from Amazon. They couldn't send you the goods. But so
if anything, the internet is supporting the postal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think with crypto, it's the exact same. It's like it's just going to be a part of the financial landscape, and that's how it's going to work alongside. It's not going to displace money because no ever will.
No.
If anything, it's going to displace gold. That's like an archaic store of value that's just.
That doesn't make America has this big vault with none in it. That's the thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you own gold, you probably own a piece of paper that says you own gold, and someone else has it in the vault. And if you wanted to move to the other side of the world, you couldn't just take your gold with you. You'd have to declare it, customs, blah, blah, blah. Like at least with crypto, it's literally a monetary network that moves at the speed of light. So you could literally keep it in your head. You're your own bank. Your bank could be in your head and you could access it anywhere in the world at a touch of a button as long as you have the internet. I mean, like some farmer in Peru could access like infinite amount of resources just if he's got a shit phone with internet. And like that's how it can change the world.
So obviously you can mine it, but predominantly you buy cryptocurrency. You could go and buy some, but it's not necessarily. If you went and spent X amount, it wouldn't be worth that tomorrow. Tell me more about that.
It's like it's people compare it to, especially Bitcoin, digital gold. So gold was like you were a prospect and people rushed out, gold mine, whatnot. It's sort of like that at the minute with Bitcoin. You've got your ups and downs, but if you look at it, if you really put it into perspective. Like Bitcoin is probably the most successful thing that mankind has ever created because this is on about Bitcoin, by the way, not Dogcoin and all this crap. So Bitcoin is now over $1 trillion market cap. So that means over $1 trillion invested in this one asset. Now, Bitcoin has been around for 12 years, so it's young. Yeah. It's still a young kid on block. Microsoft, 44 years it took him to reach $1 trillion. Apple, 42 years to reach $1 trillion. Amazon, 24 years. Google, 22 years. So
have you got this written down in front of you?
Yeah,
I know.
It's actually, I'm reading this. I've got it saved, but basically to put it in perspective, it's bigger than Visa, it's bigger than PayPal, it's bigger than Coca-Cola. You've got this many people creating this like monetary energy, and it moves at a speed of light, and it's just this thing that just, if you look at it as a brand, like Bitcoin as a brand, it's just like how amazing it is. But obviously, if people don't understand it, that's like the first step. It's like the internet in 1992. You wouldn't understand. A lot of people wouldn't understand it, and a lot of people would say. Like if I said to you in 1992, we're gonna have this thing called Facebook. We're gonna have a podcast where we can talk and we can go on YouTube and all link up and socialize. Like people in 1992 would be like, "What are you talking about?" So we're sort of at that level now where it's like the possibilities are endless. Like me and Nathan were talking earlier about this is the first, like money as an actual thing only exists because of people.
Yeah.
But with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, a machine could actually own money. Like your fridge could own money, which is like sounds strange, but if you like project stuff that you could think might happen in the future, it like opens so many possibilities. Like me and Nathan were talking about self-drive cars, and it's like, could you imagine a car that's just it owns its own money and it pays its bills and you pay it, and it just. A minute, it sounds crazy, but
a taxi firm full of AI taxis that takes your money and spends it on a new paint job.
that thing could, like, that's just one little possibility that you could even try and imagine at the moment. Like what you couldn't imagine. Like I said, 1992, you wouldn't even, if somebody said Facebook to you, you wouldn't even know what. Like, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
But what's going off with hoverboards?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, an hoverboard could maybe own Bitcoins if it does get invented.
Interesting.
Could own it.
So it can So going on to a slightly, well, similar, it's the same thing. What am I on about? So listen here. So I've heard. I saw something. It said that poor people could invest, and let's say your man on the street. Let's say, okay, poor's not the right word. Let's say someone that wouldn't traditionally do this. Let's say they've got your man on the street. Oh, this is interesting. I've got £100. What can I do with this? What would you do with that if you were?
Well,
I know you're not. I know you said you're not. You don't have all the knowledge. You're not like some kind of know all end all. You're not a professional, so to speak. But from your standpoint, someone's like, you know what? I've got £100. I can do something with this, or a £100. I can do something with this. What would you do with it?
Well, look at it from this point of view. You put that £100 in a bank account. Traditionally, it maybe drops 10% over a year. So, you know what I mean? You might put that £100 in a bank account. Next year, it's worth £99. Why? Like, all you're doing is facilitating a bank.
You're making money for the bank.
Yeah, basically, they're using your funds and you're getting nothing from it. You might get like 26p interest, some bollocks. So this is what got me to look at it in first place. We're like, I've got X amount in my savings account, and I've literally all it's done is probably dropped in value, and especially if you roll back to March last year when you had a pandemic, you've got a problem where you need money, public spending, furlough, go to America, all that. We've got a deficit. How do we make it up? We sent money printers going. Inflation. So basically, you're looking at £100 last year. It's probably not worth nowhere near that now.
No.
Near mine, like in a few years, and you probably don't notice it. Even you might go shopping and think, "Oh, that's gone up a few quid or a few pence," but really, it's just that your money's been devalued. So you take that £100, you put it in some cryptocurrency, which I would say Bitcoin is being the daddy king.
Would it be the only one that you'd invest in?
Personally, yeah, because I know Nathan's got different views on this, but
diversification is a good thing. Yeah,
diversify your portfolio. But when I come back to what I said earlier about doing your own research, if you do your research, and my research, personally, to me, I can see what Bitcoin does, and the technology behind it is blockchain, which is the technology that will change the world. Like, I can touch upon blockchain if you want, or what it is, but that's the technology that will change the world. And it literally is like the internet being invented. And I can recognize that personally. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's the one I'm shooting at. Basically. That's the only one I'd take. A lot of other coins are built upon the blockchain, which Bitcoin established, but there's basically you get altcoins, which are like Ethereum and such, which are valid coins.
I've heard that Ethereum takes lots of energy to make. I did come across something, and they were saying that a lot of people won't invest in it because it's not very green.
Well, this is the thing with crypto in general. Like, they call it FUD when it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Basically, a lot of mainstream media will spread FUD, and over the years, it's got less and less, but you will hear it, and a lot of the FUD comes from the efficiency and the power consumption. But a lot of people who are actually mining crypto, they're paying for it out of their own pocket through their energy bills.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do mine coins using like sustainable resources such as solar, and like wind energy.
Okay.
So really, if you want to put it in perspective, what a traditional banking system uses, it's like minuscule, and they're using green resources. So it's not really an argument you can make, but a lot of people do.
New York are currently trying to.
They're banning it.
Yeah, but there's also some research gone into it and saying that banks use more energy than what crypto mining does.
Of course they do.
They've got staff to pay.
Yeah.
Buildings to open.
Yep.
Never mind all like Visa network. Can you imagine how much like electric the Visa network uses alone? Like, just take all that into account, and you've got to think Bitcoin and crypto is generally a more efficient way of managing money and payment systems. But yeah, I'd stick to Bitcoin personally, but there's other coins that are of value.
Yeah, I've come across quite a lot of different information and opinions, and I can never be quite sure whether you can trust them. There's a lot that's saying that Ripple is quite a good, could potentially be quite a good one to invest in. And also, people keep mentioning Ethereum as being that's the next one down from Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, if there were one, would be Ethereum, but that's like a totally different use case compared to Bitcoin.
Right. So
like,
yeah,
Bitcoin. People are in like a utopian paradise. It would replace money, but that ain't going to happen probably. What it is used for, what it will replace, or what I believe it will replace, is gold, like as a store of value.
Yeah.
Because gold's like antiquated, it's useless really, and like we touched on earlier. But so Bitcoin may replace that. Whereas like Ethereum's like I'm not too up on Ethereum, but I know it's like a big project, and it does encompass a lot of different things that can change the world and change the crypto and the landscape. And it is a viable project. I'm just not too into it compared to like Bitcoin. I'm more interested in like the blockchain.
Yeah.
So long term wise, you're putting in some short term wise, maybe not much of a change. But if you were to put a chunk of money in, let's say, whether it was £100, whether it was 1,000, what could that turn into? I mean, is Bitcoin one of those that's more reliable in terms of growth?
Well, if you think about it, like I was saying earlier, Bitcoin as a brand, it's surpassed anything that's ever come before it. So at the present time, like, I don't know if you know, like basically PayPal are building technology around it. Visa have got it on board. Tesla invested so many billion into it. It's like, it makes sense, and it's basically you've got the big institutions coming on board, and still now we're early in the life cycle. Like I said, it's akin to having the internet in the 90s. Like, do you know what I mean? When Jeff Bezos started selling books on internet, people probably thought, what you're doing. But do you know what I mean? You can see where it is now. And I think in 10, 20 years, blockchain will just be the norm. And if you adopt it now, obviously you will see growth. Like, just roll back with Bitcoin specifically, roll back to March last year. It was maybe at $9,000 a coin.
I'm looking at a graph now that I'm on. Originally, so a year ago it was like 8,800.
There you go. And the pandemic just accelerated it because people have realised, and institutions have realised.
6 months ago it was 15,000, and it peaked a little March at 50.
It weren't too long back. It
58 grand, yeah. So no, we've got a 60.
Yeah,
$63. Dollars, yeah, dollars, yeah.
$63,000, which, like, if you were getting in that, you might be like, because a lot of people don't understand that it works in denominations of, like, they call them Satoshis. You have your Bitcoin, you have your Satoshis. And basically, if someone says, oh, one Bitcoin is $60,000, it sounds out of reach, but you can buy any amount you like. And, like, if you
buy a percentage of it, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'd help if the world referred to them in Satoshis instead of Bitcoins, because a lot of people might get more involved because they can own so many million Satoshis and it might only be a few £100. But if you look at it now and it's 60,000, maybe if you read the charts and what it's predicted to do, which is another thing, when I said do your own research, predictions are bullshit because nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But prior to March, it was growing at 200% a year. Now, since March, it's growing at 400% a year. So if you want to go on past 80, you can analyse it that way. But basically, if you're looking at it now at 57,000, whatever it were today, next year, who knows what it could be? It could be 300,000. It could be $1 million a coin.
Isn't there a certain limit that it can go to though, and then stop?
Well, basically, there's obviously with cash money, it's an infinite resource basically because you have your bank that are just constantly printing. Whereas like with Bitcoin, you know the exact amount. Like there will only ever be 21 million coins that are minted. So just picture it like you've got. I think I read somewhere there were like 40 something million. There were 43 million millionaires in the world. So 43 millionaires.
43 millionaires.
Yeah, in the world.
Yeah.
Or something like that. 43 million millionaires.
43, that's a lot of millionaires.
So if they wanted to own one coin, bear in mind there's only 21 million coins ever going to be created. And bear in mind that this is something that the rich people are aware of and are investing in. Like, you just realize how scarce an asset it actually is. Like, and it's supply and demand at the end of the day. And a lot of people now, they can't, like, Bitcoin can swing. Like, other week it went to 47,000 a coin and then went back up to 57,000. You can have like a 10 grand swing in like 48 hours, and people get scared and they might buy in at 57 and sell at 47, and then it swings back up. And everyone within the circle calls them paper hands because they get scared and they sell. But every single person who has bought Bitcoin, if they bought Bitcoin and just held it, they're in profit by a lot. So basically, you don't have to do anything. You just have to buy it and hold it. And maybe in 10 years, a working class guy like me, and like Nathan, and like you, like, we could retire and we could live comfortably. And that it seems like too good an opportunity to pass up. And basically, you sell your coins now because you're scared. It's only a rich person who's going to be buying them.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And so, like, we're working class guys. Like, why would I sell my coins to some rich guy? And that's what people are doing. So I'd just advocate to basically do your own research the technology. And if you've got some spare cash, because that's like another thing, like, only invest what you're willing to lose.
Of course, yeah.
Like, if you get to a point in your life where you do, like, years back, I knew about Bitcoin, but I didn't have any money that I'd be willing to risk on it. But if you get into that position where you have, like, it's just an opportunity that I think it only comes once in, not even a lifetime, just once every decade. Like, you just grab onto it. And like I said, I'm not a financial advisor and I don't want to be giving anyone any sort of advice, but our personal outlook is this is an opportunity that is too good to pass up.
Yeah.
That's good. So now's the time. Right. Now I'll tell you what the time is. 1 hour and 23 minutes worth of talking.
That's gone quick.
Yeah.
That's our last record, our longest one, I think, was our last one. And previous to that, it was an hour 15. So we've smart. This is like the second longest one I think we've done. I've had a really good time talking today, Ben. We're going to skip the blockchain chat. I think that's going to be too complicated. It might end up crashing my PC if it listens to that.
It's fairly straightforward. You can Google it and find out. Like I said, do your own research and learn about blockchain.
I'll definitely have a look. Yeah, I feel like I've learned a little bit about beer and why Dogecoin is definitely the one to invest in.
Yeah.
I call it dog shit.
Yeah. That's just so you know.
I'll definitely get that beep. I'll get that sorted out for that. Have you enjoyed being on today, Ben?
Yeah, man. It's been a good chat. Feel like we're just friends chatting crap. So
that's what it's all about. Actually, it's all about just having it. I feel like you've enjoyed expressing some information and passing it on. I always like.
Yeah, well. I said to you, I chew Nathan's ear off about loads of stuff. So
yeah.
At least if I can chew someone else's ear off, then yeah.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Gives my ear a rest.
I've enjoyed the chewing. It's good.
So invite me back whenever you want.
We will. We'll find something that we feel you could have a good chat on. Maybe we'll have another film-based one at some point.
Yeah, maybe like superhero movies, blockbusters, all that sort of stuff. That's what I love.
Batman.
Yeah,
it's all about Batman. It's all about Batman.
I find it a bit niche, that superhero genre. So I think you should not do that.
No one's interested.
No.
So if you ever want to chat like cheesy shit films, 80s films, stuff from 90s, I'll chew your ear off.
I'm happy to do an 80s film special in the future.
Get me on for that.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
And you've got to wear 80s clothes though.
Like all my wardrobe's 80s. This t-shirt is.
Exactly.
What's more 80s than a black t-shirt?
I've got a Tory top on. It's
exactly.
It might be from Primark, but it's definitely 80s.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about it then.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this one. Maybe you'll have some thoughts on today's episode. Are we interested in brewing for some yourself for some beer? What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Let us know on Facebook or even in the YouTube comments section. Thanks to Lee.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed today.
And thanks to our resident financial correspondent, Ben.
Yes. Good to talk to the two sages.
It is. I know. You've give us our sage advice.
Yes,
definitely. Make sure you head over to his Instagram. Have a look at all his handiwork on there. I'm sure you'll be as impressed as we are. And hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
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 Thank you for listening to us today. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and various other platforms. Not to forget, of course, YouTube. Myself and Nathan also do weekly Twitch streams. Find us at ShaggyDog79 and LordShade86, respectively. We're always looking for new people to connect with, so give us both a follow, if that's your sort of thing.